Hello beauties, how are you all doing? My name is Shaz and I love colorful makeup. Today we're going to talk about the beautiful Seahorse palette from Adept Cosmetics. I promise that I will swatch this palette on camera for you all, so that's what we're going to do today. I recognize this palette is $140, which is very expensive, and that's before tax. And I was going to do a swatch video of every single color for you all and give you my thoughts on the color, and then we can decide at the end if this palette is actually worth $140 if anybody's interested in purchasing it. If all of that sounds good to you, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Let's go into the video. Okay beauties, before anybody asks, I did this eye look with Nomad's Royal Europe palette. This is a beautiful palette, and the eye look is going to be in a video where I did swatch comparisons and 3 eye looks. If that video is already available, I will tag it here and in the description box. You can check it out. But the topic of today is Seahorse palette. Now, we all know that this palette is a little pricey. It's $140 and that's before tax. Although don't forget to get some money off by using someone's code. Now, talking about the palette a little bit, of course, on the outside, it has super beautiful, a little bit ombre. I think you can see it in the camera that the faux leather is kind of an ombre effect, and then it has 2 seahorses and sort of a metallic logo that is kind of raised, as you can see on top of the palette. It looks super well made. It has Adept Cosmetics embossing on the background, the logo of the company, but the palette on the outside, honestly, it looks very luxe and it merits the price. On the inside, as you can see, most of the colors are pretty light toned. Now, for someone like me with dark features, I would not be able to use this palette by itself. I would probably not use this for a 1 eyeshadow look, because using relatively light colors, regardless of how shimmery, shifty, and vibrant and multichromy they are, 1 eyeshadow looks of light colors like this will probably wash me out. So someone like me would have to combine this with another palette, which in itself raises the question of whether $140 is worth buying this palette for, knowing that I would have to use it with something else, that it's not going to be a sustainable palette, for lack of a better word. Now let's go ahead and do the swatches on camera, because I can't wait. And no, friends, I have not touched the palette yet, although I've had it for a couple of days and I can't wait to swatch it on camera. What I'm going to do is just swatch it on the back of my hand so that it creates enough curvature for you all to be able to see it. And as I'm swatching every single color, I'm going to tell you my opinion about the color and whether I think that that color is a vibrant enough color, is a different enough color, and generally like what I'm seeing. It's very difficult to capture the true shiftiness of most multichrome and shifty eyeshadows on camera. Okay, beauties, getting started with the swatches. I'm going to swatch from this color all the way and then go back in the same direction for each row. Let's get started. The first color is this one. Soft Coral is the name, and it's a beautiful pink base with a blue glittery greenish hue on top. Let me quickly swatch it on the back of my hand. I purposefully have not done nails so that I can do these swatches easily. As you can see, this color has a pinky base. From the angle I'm looking at it, from this side, I see a blue glaze, but you all can see the gold glaze. This is one of those multichromy shimmers. I think I definitely have a few of shimmers like this in my Divina collection and my Terra Moons collection. I would not call this shimmer super unique. It's not like I haven't seen a color like this before, but it is very sparkly and beautiful. Also from this angle, I see a little bit of magenta. I think the blue hue is really mixing with the base, the pink base, and it's giving that feel. Okay, beauties, this is Shaz from the future. I was editing this video and I realized for some reason I was missing some of the footage. That's why I look different. So I had to do those swatches and insert this video into the other video. But before I get started, this eye look is done and it's gonna come up on my channel. It's with Glaminatrix Holographics. Now let's get into the swatches. Okay, friends, the two that were missing were PONTOH and SINDO, so let's get started. I'm first going to swatch PONTOH for you all. Let me make sure I capture the flakiness. It's super flaky, and let's do it. I recommend this color over glitter primer or something like that. Beautiful. Can you see the flakiness? Oh, very nice color. It definitely looks super metallic. It's as if there is a layer of metal on my skin. This color reminds me of some of the colors in Minka palette also from Adept that had kind of the same texture. From the angle I'm looking at it, I see gold with a green hue, but I think you all are seeing the pink shift. Okay, SINDO is our next one. Let's go into it. It's this color. This color kind of looks holographic. So I think you all are seeing maybe a little bit of a blue, a little bit of a pink in the palette. It looks kind of blue with a pink hue. And then from the angle I'm looking at it, if I do this, I see sort of a green hue on top. And then if I hold it like this, I see green, and then I see pink where there is no light. Hopefully you can see a little bit of the green. Yeah, this color SINDO definitely has a little bit of a holographic vibe. Now let's go back to the rest of the other video. Okay, friends, the next color is PARADOXICAL, which I see as a light green, but I think you all see a different color. It's this one. On my finger, I see kind of a light green, pinky, gold from some angles. Very little green is visible in this swatch. Maybe from some angles you see the hint of mint green as you saw in the palette, but it's mostly coppery pink shift. From the angle I'm looking at it, I see mint green with a hue of gold. The next color is Long Snout, and I see this color as an orange. It has a little bit of a hue of gold and a little bit of a hue of pink. From this angle, I could even argue there is a little bit of a green. Let me try to capture the shifts in the video. I see more green and gold from this angle. I think you all see peachy, corally, orange, and pink. Let's continue with this color called Narrow Bellied. I think the brand already mentioned that a lot of these names are the names of different types of seahorses. This is this color. From my angle, I see teal. It's a beautiful, beautiful lime green to a teal. And from some angles, you can see the gold shift. It's a beautiful color. Let me see if I can capture the teal in this video. Beauties, let's do the next color, False Eyed. This looks like a minty green blue in the palette. It looks like it has a white base with a minty kind of a green hue. I don't see a lot of shifts in this color. This is considered an iridescent multichrome. I have definitely seen more exciting shifts in iridescent multichromes from brands like Terra Moons, Cleona, and Divina. I would not say this is a very exciting color with a lot of shifts. I see more or less what you're seeing. on your end from that angle, and then I do see some green shift, green goldy shift from this angle. Beauties, continuing with the next color. As you can see, Tyro looks like a marbled shade with pink and blue and all kinds of colors. This reminds me of Jupiter from the Milky Way collection from JD Glow. If you all remember, I had issues with that color because it looked amazingly pink and blue and yellow and all kind of goodness colors in the pan, but then if you wanted to swirl swatch it, it would turn into just a silver. And I think that's probably what's going to happen with this color. So I'm going to be very careful at swatching it because I don't want to damage the shade. I want to figure out if there is a way I can just get the pink out or the blue out. Like, I'm just going to swatch the bottom part. Exactly as I expected, I got a silver taupe by swatching all of these. Yeah, this is also much more hard pressed than the other colors, so it's just difficult to get color out of it. Now, I like the fact that mine has a soft pinky taupey hue. I don't know if everybody else's does. I'm guessing everybody gets kind of a different combination based on how much pink was in their pan. But I would not call this a multichrome. If I'm being super generous, I'll just call it a duochrome. I think you all see sort of a very nice taupey pink. And then from some angles on this end, I see a crust of silver that is super metallic. It looks like it has tiny blue glitter particles. And that is the only reason I'm willing to call it a duochrome. Okay, friends, going into FYGMY Thorny, which is this beautiful blue. I'm just going to use a new finger. This is a very nice blue. It kind of looks like an iridescent multichrome that has a little bit of too much of blue pigment. It's definitely kind of iridescent. It's not opaque. You can definitely see my skin color from under it. From the angle I'm looking at it, I see a purple hue, and then I also see a huge blue glitter. It's as if like it has blue glitter in it. Now, there's no crunchiness. These are all smooth. There's no glitter in these. It's just an impression of super glittery shininess. Honestly, I can't see a lot of shifts in this color. I don't really know if this color is a multichrome. Continuing with this blue color, Jayakars. This one is a little more opaque than the last one, and it has a very nice blue, opaque blueness. You all can probably see the purple shift. I see the same blue glitteriness from this angle that I talked about in the last color. I also see a very mild hint of pink. When I'm looking at it from this angle, I don't as much see the purple. Same feelings that I had about FYGMY Thorny. I don't know why this color is considered a multichrome. I don't see many shifts. Maybe there is a green shift from that angle. I don't really know. Also, this color looks oddly similar to FYGMY Thorny. It looks a little darker, like a dab. But the truth is, if you use this one day on your eye and the next day you use FYGMY Thorny, I don't think anybody can notice that you use two different colors in 2 days. They look too similar. Okay, for research purposes, I am going to swatch FYGMY Thorny next to Jayakars. Okay, FYGMY Thorny is a tiny bit more, I want to say baby blue or sky blue. You know, this one is a tiny bit more babyish blue. And then Jayakars, which is the one at the top, has more obvious hue of purple. Okay, beauties, let's do the last row. This is called Low Crown. And this looks very purpley, like lavendery purple, very nice. This reminds me of the few beautiful colors from Terra Moons. I think Ceres is one. It also kind of reminds me of Lucid Lavender from Touch of Glam, and also, is it Bloom 2? One of the Glaminatrix very famous colors, maybe Bloom 2 is the one that I'm thinking about. Yeah, and then this, from your angle, you might see a very nice hint of lavender, very light hint. From my angle, I see sort of a blue-green teal with a hue of gold in some shifts. I also see a little bit of pink. This is definitely a very beautiful, subtle, romantic multichrome. This one, or Giraffe, is our next color. This looks a little bit chunky, but one of those beautiful ones. This reminds me of some of the colors from Touch of Glam that are chunkier. Very metallic-y. I think you all can see sort of a purple metallic here. It's a beautiful color. This reminds me of some of the metallic colors in the Minka palette from Adept. Yep, definitely chunky. You can probably see the chunks already. This is one of those beautiful colors, though. I love it. I think you all see the purple hue, the lavendery purple to the dark purple, and then there's a little bit of a pink shift. From the angle I'm seeing it, I see teal, like a metallic teal. Definitely a multichrome color. It's a beautiful color. Love it. Did I mention the name of this color is Giraffe? Beauties, we're almost to the end. Let's do Tiger Tail next. As you all see in the pan, well, you all are seeing orange, which already speaks to the multi-chrominess of this palette, because from my angle, I see purple with sort of a greenish hue. Ooh, I now see pink with a gold hue on top. This is not what I was expecting. Interesting. This is one of those colors that is purple with a blue glaze from my angle, but I think it's a sort of a pinky magenta-y from your angle with a gold hue. Definitely a multichrome, and it's beautiful. This is one of those multichromes that I'm sure I have a dupe for in another brand. I just can't think of off the top of my head. Beautiful color. Okay, friends, one before last is Big Belly. Let's do this. Another one of those interesting multichromy colors that looks a little bit like it's green or silver or gray, like a metallic gray with a hint of pink. And then from my angle, I see teal. I think you all can see the teal shift, but then you can also see the pink shift. One of those interesting colors. Beautiful color. This also reminds me of Lucid Lavender from Touch of Glam, and then Bloom 2 from Glaminatrix. And then from my angle, as I mentioned, it looks teal. Before I continue, I want to swatch compare Low Crown and SINDO next to Big Belly, because I mentioned all of them are a dupe for Lucid Lavender, so I just kind of want to see how they compare. So this is Low Crown and this is SINDO. This is Low Crown and this is SINDO. So again, we have Big Belly, we have Low Crown and SINDO. I think the colors are beautiful, the shifts are beautiful, but they're a little maybe too similar. I'm not sure if you need all three. Big Belly, which is the top one, definitely has more of a greenish grayish shift. Low Crown, which is the middle one, has, I want to say, more of a purplish shift. You can see the purple from this angle. And then SINDO, I see a lot more pink shift in SINDO than in the other ones, but they are very similar. Okay, beauties, last but not least, we have Courtship, which is this beautiful color at the bottom. I don't know if you can see. It's like a seafoam green, but it has a pink shift from some angles, even on this swatch. It's a beautiful color. Beautiful, beautiful color. I want to say this also reminds me of Lucid Lavender. I feel like I've said that about literally every color that we swatched, or a lot of the colors that we swatched. And then from the angle I'm looking at it, I see teal. I also see pink, a little bit of a pink shift. I definitely see some gold. I see a hint of green. Definitely some lavendery purple. Beautiful color. And since the color looked kind of similar to Big Belly, I'm going to also swatch Big Belly next to it, because I also said that Big Belly looks very similar to Lucid Lavender, and I want to make sure this is Big Belly. And I want to make sure I can capture the difference for you all. If you all are interested in buying this palette, you can see how different these are. Okay, beauties, we have Courtship and we have Big Belly. And you be the judge on how different these two colors are. Courtship looks more green to me, or sort of a muted down, I want to say dusty grayish green. At the edge I see green. Here I don't see as much green at the edge, and I also see more purple hue in Big Belly. From my angle though, honestly, they kind of look the same. I see a little more gold in Courtship, but honestly, I'm being nitpicky. Yeah, they look very, very similar. I'm not convinced you can see much of a difference using these two on your eyes. Okay, beauties, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have glitter literally everywhere. I still have swatches. I need to go wash my hands. But the moment of truth, is this palette worth it? So the palette was $140, right? And there are, what, 15 shades in the palette. So each shade is worth $9.33 or $9.33. Now, obviously, not all of these shades are considered equal. Some of these are more multichromy, some of these are less multichromy. Some of them, honestly, I don't know if I can even call them duochrome. I think I mentioned this color. I don't know if I would call this an iridescent multichrome. I think it's a duochrome. I think there were a few other colors I said the same thing about. And then Tyro, I feel like it's super hard pressed for me. I had a hard time getting it out, and of course, even getting it out, because it's a marbled shade, it's gonna just come out to kind of more or less the same kind of color. And as I said, because it's marbled, it might be a different final effect for different people, because it depends on how much pink there is in the pan and how much gold there is in the pan and so on. But there were definitely a lot of colors that I think are worth $10. In fact, there are a lot of colors in here, like these metallic ones, and also some of the ones that I said are a dupe for Lucid Lavender and Bloom 2 from Glaminatrix. I think Lucid Lavender goes for like $20. So yeah, there are definitely shades in this palette that the dupe for and some other brands are sold for $20-ish or more than $15. So definitely there are colors in here that I would say are super unique. Obviously I bought the palette. I think it's worth for me, but I make videos online. But there are enough similar shades in this palette, or shades that are dupe for each other, that if you were to buy these shades separately, you would have probably not bought all of them. For example, I showed you that Low Crown, Big Belly, and SINDO were more or less similar. Realistically, are they going to look different on your eyes? No. Similar with Courtship and Big Belly, which makes me think Courtship, Low Crown, and SINDO, same thing. So these four colors are probably going to be more or less very similar. Realistically, you would probably buy just one, maybe two of them. There were also two other colors that I said the same about, these two blue ones. I don't think it's worth buying both of them if you were to purchase them separately. So would I have purchased this palette knowing this? Would I think this palette is worth $140? I feel like in a different universe, I would still purchase this palette just because I like to, but I would not think that each of these pans separately is adding a new value to my collection, if that makes sense. As I said, there are dupes in this palette, and there isn't just one dupe for one color. There's multiple dupes in this palette. So you'll take from that what you will. As I said, overall, it's a beautiful palette. I'm so happy I have it. Okay, beauties, I hope you learned something from this video. Let me know down below what you learned. Are you gonna buy this palette now? Maybe you've already purchased it. Are you happy you purchased it? What are your thoughts? Maybe you swatched it and you disagree with some of the things I said. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. I love you all. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. Have an amazing day, and until next time. Bye.